Imagine glasses that, well, just adjust their focus automatically. You just look somewhere and boom, clear vision.
Right. No more swapping pairs, no more finding that tiny sweet spot.
Exactly. And that's the promise behind this tech we're looking at today, autofocus glasses from a Finnish startup, ISI.
It's a pretty exciting development in optics. So today we're diving into the sources we have, articles, notes to really understand, what makes these IXI glasses potentially revolutionary.
Yeah, how do they work? Who's making them? And I guess, what's the future look like for this kind of automatic vision thing?
Okay, so let's start with the why. The problem they're tackling is super common. Millions of people need glasses, especially as they get older, dealing with things like presbyopia.
Oh, yeah. And the current solutions, well, they're not always great, are they? The sources definitely mention frustrations.
They really do. I mean, think about regular, progressive, or bifocal glasses. Often there's that adaptation period. It can be pretty uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable is putting it mildly sometimes. You hear about blurry zones, headaches, even neck pain from just trying to see clearly.
Exactly. And then there's the hassle of needing different pairs for different things. One for the computer, one for reading, maybe another for driving.
It's a juggle. And progressive lenses, specifically, the sources point out those narrow fields of view and the weird distortions at the edges.
Yeah, that peripheral blur can be really bothersome, even disorienting.
So this is where IXI comes in, a startup from Finland, Helsinki, founded back in 2021. And they're not thinking small.
Definitely not. Their goal is basically to create the world's first autofocus glasses. They want to essentially replace traditional bifocals and progressives altogether.
Wow. That's ambitious.
It is. And one of the founders, Nico Iden, he used this analogy from photography, which I thought was quite good. He said, we want to trigger the same technological leap as cameras did, moving from fixed focus to autofocus.
That's a great comparison. Makes you instantly get it. Going from manual focus cameras to the autofocus we all expect now, applying that to glasses.
Yeah, that level of seamless, effortless clarity. So the big question is, how do they actually do it? How does the tech work in a pair of glasses?
Right. What do the sources say?
Okay, so the core idea involves tiny sensors. They're integrated discreetly into the frame, so you probably wouldn't even notice them.
Good. Aesthetics matter for glasses.
Totally. So these sensors track where your eyes are moving, where you're looking, and they measure the distance to whatever you're focusing on using light impulses.
Light impulses, like bouncing light off things.
That seems to be the principle, yeah. Measuring the return signal to gauge distance. And this distance data is sent, instantly to the lenses.
And the lenses aren't standard ones, obviously.
No, not at all. The sources say they're made of liquid crystals. That's the really clever bit.
Liquid crystals, like in some displays.
Similar underlying tech, perhaps, but applied differently. These liquid crystal lenses can actually change their optical properties, how they bend light in real time. They do this using electrical signals.
So the sensor measures distance, sends a signal, and the liquid crystal lens adjusts its focus electronically.
You got it. It adapts the correction automatically to give you clear vision for that specific distance, whether it's near, far, or in between.
And it happens fast.
Very fast. The source is mentioned within 0.2 seconds, which is, probably faster than your brain even consciously registers the shift.
That is quick. And it's interesting, isn't it, that IXI seems purely focused on the vision correction, not like other smart glasses concepts we've seen.
Yeah, that's a key point from the materials. No notifications, no augmented reality overlays, none of that. Their mission is just better vision correction, full stop.
Which might actually be smarter, focusing on doing one thing really, really well.
Could be. It avoids trying to cram too much tech in and potentially compromising the core function. Or the battery life.
Ah, yes, the battery. How long do they last?
The estimate mentioned is about 2 days of battery life. And crucially, if the battery does die, they're designed to default to your distance correction.
So you're not left completely unable to see far away. That's sensible.
Definitely a practical consideration.
Now, developing this kind of tech,
Yeah.
It sounds expensive. How are they funding all this?
Yeah, it takes serious investment. And they got it. They announced a Series A round in April 2025, pulled in $36.5 million.
Whoa, $36.5 million. That's significant for Series A.
It is. It shows a lot of investor confidence. The round was led by Plural, but other big names are involved too. The Amazon Alexa Fund, Tessie, Byfounders, Hardcore, Urleo.
Amazon Alexa Fund. That's interesting. Suggests maybe wider applications or interest in this kind of seamless tech.
Could be. Paul Bernard from the Alexa Fund was quoted saying he finds on-demand vision correction fascinating, and he thinks IXI has the right team.
And the loot investor Portal.
Their partner, Stentim Kivi, had a quote that was even stronger. He said, IXI is not just creating a product, it is redefining how we interact with the world. High praise.
Well, it helps that the founders have serious credentials, right?
Right. Absolutely critical, I think. Nico Eiden and Vil Mettinen, their ex-Nokia, ex-Microsoft, apparently worked on HoloLens.
HoloLens.
Yeah.
So deep experience in optics and complex wearables.
Exactly. And they also co-founded Varho, another company in the mixed reality space that raised a ton of money. So they know this territory. Investors likely see that track record.
And the market itself is huge, right? Eyewear isn't exactly niche.
Not at all. The sources value the global eyewear market at over $200 billion. And it's growing fast, like 8% a year, faster than smartphones or smartwatches, apparently.
Wow, so huge potential if they can crack it. What about the price? Is this going to be astronomically expensive?
They're aiming for a price point comparable to a high-end iPhone. So premium, yes, but potentially accessible to a lot of people who already invest in.
Okay, so comparable to other high-end tech people buy. That makes sense. So let's bring it back to the listener. Why should you, listening now, care about this?
Well, think about the sheer convenience. Imagine just having one pair of glasses. That's it. One pair that works perfectly whether you're reading your phone, working at your desk, or looking across the street.
The freedom of that. No more switching glasses. No more head tilting to find the right zone in your progressives.
Exactly. And think about avoiding that whole adaptation period, the discomfort, the headaches we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that alone would be a huge win for many people.
And it could be especially beneficial for people whose vision is actively changing, maybe just starting with presbyopia, or even people who had laser surgery years ago and now find their near vision changing again. That automatic adjustment could be amazing.
Just seamless, clear vision at all distances. It really could simplify daily life quite a bit.
That's the vision, and IXI is also aiming for these to qualify as a medical device, just like your current prescription glasses.
Right, that's important for legitimacy and maybe insurance coverage down the line.
Definitely, but it's important to remember, this isn't something you can buy today. They're still in development.
Okay, so what are the hurdles? What challenges do they still need to overcome, according to the sources?
Well, there are several. First, just the sheer technical complexity. Making those liquid crystal lenses perfectly clear, lightweight, durable, and comfortable for all-day wear while packing in the sensors and electronics. That's hard.
And getting that medical device approval you mentioned, that's not trivial.
No, regulatory hurdles are always significant. Then there's competition. The sources mention a couple of others working on similar ideas. Le Claret in France, Elcio in Japan.
Are they close to market?
It seems they've also faced delays. Le Claret apparently pushed their launch target to 2026. It just highlights how difficult this technology actually is to perfect and commercialize.
So it's a race, but a technically demanding one.
Exactly. And there's another company, Viction in Japan, that does have a product, but the design is apparently quite different, maybe less discreet than what ISI seems to be aiming for.
Battery life optimization must be another challenge too, right? Keeping it going for 2 days with constant adjustments.
Yeah, balancing performance and power consumption is always key in wearables. So, iGuy's next steps. They're accelerating R&D, growing the team, moving into a bigger lab.
And a prototype.
They plan to reveal a working prototype by the end of 2025. So, maybe not too long before we get a real look.
Okay, something to watch for then. So, wrapping up, these IXI autofocus glasses, they really could be a major leap.
Taking that autofocus magic from our cameras and putting it right into our everyday glasses, it could genuinely improve the quality of life for millions.
It really could. And it does make you think, which leads to our final thought for you today. If something as fundamental as eyeglasses can be revolutionized like this, what other everyday sort of static objects around us might be completely transformed next by smart adaptive technology?
It's an interesting question to ponder, isn't it? What's next?
Indeed. Well, this has been a deep dive from the podcast to Philippe. If you found this as fascinating as we did, please do help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers.